Guess what time it is? It's time for another free video by me, reallifetrading.com. You know what time it is. Hey traders from around the world, it's your Wednesday real life stock review. And even though I do like spelling Wednesday with an I, Wednesday, today was just a normal day. I actually lost very small on the day, and I'll talk about that particular trade, but I'm very happy with it. This is a great, important lesson because yesterday was pretty great out there in the markets for a lot of day traders and even some swing traders. I mean, it depends on what you traded, but yeah, yesterday was not bad. This was the exact Mr. Squiggles that I drew on Friday, and you saw it on Monday, and we got the exact culmination. So realistically, I was just looking for that one little cute rollover, and we got it. So we pulled down to the 50 EMA right now. We are still in a bullish trend. We are working on bouncing. We do have an unfilled gap right here by pennies. So the only thing is with Trump coming out, making another tweet, I mean, he was tweeting like a rampager last night, but making some statements that, a deal might be in progress. That's pretty normal, right? If a deal is being made and there's some progress towards that, the market likes it. And if there's no resolution to the deal, the market doesn't like it. We'll just find out when and where it actually transpires, what specifically happens. But what I can say, almost without question at this point, is if for any reason we take out today's low, then we are certainly going to have some lower lows ahead of us in October. And I'll be a little bit patient on this one. The big takeaway from today is very frequently this. If you do have an exceptional day in the market where you're up big and everything's just wonderful, or if the candle, the actual move itself in the market was a massive, massive move, I really do not trade very much the next day because it's normally congested, sideways, kind of choppy and a little trappy. So I did take a trade today. I did lose on it, but looking at the SPY, today was also a pretty decent candle, but most of the things I looked at, there were no real setups out there that really looked great to me. Now, a few people out there, I'm sure, did really well, but I was not one of them. I didn't really make any money today, and that's just one of my rules. So my rule specifically is if I have a very profitable day, or I found trading to be very easy. So if it's one of those days where just everything works, right? Then I only risk 1R the next day, especially if that day is a Friday. That's one of my rules. I just found out to note that if a Thursday is an amazing day in the market, then I almost just take that Friday off. Very high degree of certainty that it's not that big of a deal. With the SPY doing its thing, bearish engulfing candle. Here's the weekly chart. We traded down. We could make some lower lows from here, but again, the trend is still bullish. I am still bullish. I do have some bullish swing trades out there, but we'll find out. I got some bearish swings. I got some bullish swings. Obviously, if you had some bullish swings, you probably got stopped out on a lot of things yesterday, which I did, but I also stayed in some bullish swing trades and stayed in some bearish swing trades. So we'll go look at those, but before we do that, let's dive into what some of you requested. Had a lot of requests for ULTA, ULTA, and some peeps want to know if this one's going to go higher. It very well could, but my thought on ULTA is pretty clearly defined and drawn by Mr. Squiggles here. This was the analysis that I created after the drop happened on the 26th of August, at the end of that week. So this is just what I think it's going to do. If you want to get into ULTA longer term, I don't necessarily think that's a bad decision. I just think that you're going to get a chance to do it later down the road for almost the exact same price it is now, or even a little bit lower. This does seem to be a double top to me. This also seems to be a wave 3 of some kind, and that would stipulate that most likely we have a little bit of a lower low to go after we retest some. That's just my viewpoint and my opinion on Ulta Beauty. There obviously is some really big trends out there on social media and on YouTube with makeup artists, and that's a massive portion of YouTube, just makeup videos. Ulta benefiting from that for most of 2016, 2017, 2018, and we kind of came crashing down a little bit on earnings. I think some congestion, some sideways movement, and then something could be cool. But right now, nothing special. Bosch Health Systems, aka Valiant Pharmaceuticals. This is the old VRX, I believe. And this is the weekly chart. So you are in a Bollinger Band squeeze on a weekly chart on Valiant Pharmaceuticals, or also known as Bosch Health Systems. Long-term moving averages are consolidating. They are squeezing in on a weekly time frame. Here's the daily chart, and this stuff is going real sideways. So that could be a good thing. If you're looking at a big picture and you were looking at buying, sure, right? I mean, we could definitely pop from down here on earnings or something, but you can see back in 2003 to 2009, we did trade very sideways for quite some time before we went higher, and we could do that again. This is a really congested, very sideways move, and not much has occurred. So I agree. At some point, it'll probably break out in that direction. I don't know what direction that'll be, but yeah, it's in a Bollinger Band squeeze on bigger time frames, monthly chart, weekly chart. So eventually breaking out of that pattern could be really cool. The question just is, when will it break out? And I don't know. As we approach earnings, it could be a fun one to do a straddle or a strangle on. Fundamentally, though, I'm not in love with this particular chart or company. Next on the list is Alibaba, BABA, and of course, BABA having some pullbacks with the news, right? You had a massive bearish candle yesterday. I mean, just huge 2 days in a row of bear candles, and then we got a massive, big retest today. The buying kind of came out of nowhere for the most part, but again, with the news of the potential deal being made, the market did pop around 10 o'clock Central, 11 Eastern, and BABA just slowly grinded higher. I missed this one, didn't get a chance to trade it, but tomorrow I'll figure out how much I sit on my hands for some day trades. We got some pretty big candles kind of back to back. So I'm thinking if we have a big gap up in the markets tomorrow, we might fade lower. That makes a lot of sense to me because there was a ton of random buying today. So if I'm looking at Alibaba, otherwise it's just sideways, right? It had what I would call a false breakout up here. So false breakout, tons of people going long on BABA up in September 20th and September 19th. So those people are getting stopped out. I don't know. I'm just waiting for BABA to do something. I'm pretty neutral on it. I don't have any position on it right now. Although I could make the argument that this is a double bottom retest neckline, and we're retesting the 100 simple and we break higher. Remember, folks, I'm game for a bullish move in the market. No issue with that at all. I'm a perma bull, all about the markets going higher. BABA, massive company, could easily go higher long term. But right now, we're just chopping sideways and hanging out. Here's the monthly chart. And the monthly chart to me, again, looks nice and bullish. Good lower shadow, good looking trend right here. So I'm game for BABA to do something, but tomorrow I don't think I'm going to trade it unless there's a lot of buyers to be trapped today, and there's a lot of people that are going to be excited. So again, if we gap up nicely tomorrow morning in the markets or specifically on BABA, I'd look for a little bit of a fade lower. And if we gap down nicely overnight, we trap a lot of these really zealous buyers that came in towards the end of the day in the markets, we could get an inside day of a little bit of a sell-off on BABA. We shall see. Next on the list, I had a lot of people request Disney, DIS. Disney just hanging strong right now, and the support that most people are watching is this support right here, which I do agree. Really good support on Disney. I'm hoping nothing too crazy or goofy happens on this one, but I do see this new low that came in on Disney. This is a really interesting point. So the low of this bearish candle is 13102. The low of today, 13122. So we didn't make a new low. We got very, very close. So you can see that this is obviously a strong support level. We have bounced off the support level before, and we can do it again. I do have 140 January 2021 calls on Disney, expecting it to trade up a little bit higher. But if Disney breaks this support and closes below it, let me draw it with a bearish candle. So if we close below this bad boy on Disney, really anytime in the next 2 weeks, then yes, Disney's going to go lower, unequivocally. Coming into this target, this gap would be strong. Coming into the 200 simple, very doable. Disney, keep your eyes on that just to make sure it doesn't happen. If it does, I'll most likely get into some protective puts and sell some calls against my leap. Otherwise, I'm just going to let it hang out and do its thing. Right now, relatively bullish on it. Here's the only trade that I took today, and the only trade that I lost on was Amazon. So I played Amazon bearish, mostly because you had a massive bearish engulfing candle yesterday. Huge volume, and we were starting to take out some of these lows. So we started to take out the low of this candle, started taking out the low of this candle, and I was like, okay, well, let's see if the market really sells off hard. And it didn't, right? We had a big sell-off yesterday. Very happy that I exited the trade. In hindsight, I should have flipped the position, but again, I was only going to lose small on the day, and the trap was perfectly placed. So good job, bulls, trapping me. The entry I took was right below the low of this bullish candle right here. Stop was way up here. And then we got this evening star reversal pattern, which also broke lower right there. And I added to the position, lowered my stop, and got stopped out right there for a small gain. Then I had to go to a meeting, and I do think that I could have played Amazon bullish right there. Somewhere in there, play it bullish with a stop way down here, and I would have gotten my R back. That would have been a nice trade. Didn't do it. All is okay. I could recognize the opportunity. Tomorrow, I will get my loss back. Only lost 0.8 Rs on the day today. And thanks to Tesla, yesterday, I'm actually sitting at 23.2 Rs for the month of September. So Tesla was a really big win for a lot of traders in the trading room, and that made September extremely, extremely profitable. But Amazon, yeah, it's just hanging out, doing its thing, chilling, I guess. Shout outs to my buddy Renato, just joined the real life trading community. He's only 22 years old, and congratulations, man. He tracked down Boeing. He played Boeing for a small game. I was very happy for him. This was a retest gap, right? So most of the market was weak today. Stock traded up, ran up, retested, high wave candle, consolidated for about 20 minutes. So he got in bullish here with a stop down here and got out for a small win. It wasn't anything majestic, but it was a win. And remember, keep in mind, my friends, that something that's important to understand, if you are young or old, you have the ability to do this forever. Once you learn it, it's really not massively hard or complicated to do. It just is frustrating sometimes when you lose, but other than that, it's actually a very fun, incredible opportunity to generate cash flow and, improve your brain. So Boeing, Renato, good trade, good win, nice move, perfect retest gap on Boeing. And I was really happy to be a part of one of your first trades as a real life trader. All right, got a few more to look at, and then we're going to look at some of the swing trades we're in. Snapchat, beautiful hammer type of candle today with a shaved top. It did pull back into the moving averages, and I know I've been a bear on Snapchat for a while, fundamentally, but I've really started changing my chord on that since back in June, really. Once this candle came in, I've been singing a different tune, and some of the earnings are starting to come around. They're still hemorrhaging money, but people are now kind of believing the product. And the thing is, right, when Snapchat came out, this was back in 2017, when most of their customers were like, 12 and 13. Now you got 2 years past that, a little over 2 years. So now those same people are 15, 16, 14. They have a little bit more buying power, right? They're starting to buy actual products, go to college, go to high school, and spend some more money. So Snapchat's increasing their ad spend, and they're doing really well as far as revenues go. Anyway, fundamentally, they're coming back on top, and they're actually looking a little bit better. So I will be keeping very close eyes on Snapchat going forward. I'll kind of lose my overall bearish thesis from here. But this is what I would like for Snapchat to do. Pull back to 1601 with a stop at 1401. But based on today's hammer candle, I really am going to keep a pretty close eye on pretty much this. Just let it break out with a stop limit above that candle and put a stop loss below the low of today and see if Snapchat bounces. Here's some swing trades that we're in. Palo Alto, missed getting stopped out by a few pennies, and I'll be increasing the stop on PANW. We've been in this trade for almost a month now, and the long-term moving averages just refuse to let this go higher. So I'll be putting the stop below the low of today on PANW and more or less just crossing the fingers on this one to see if it can break higher. Workday, WDAY, had a massive hammer today. Got triggered in yesterday and did not quite hit our target. Even though we were up right at 1R at one point today. Thought about taking the gains, but again, the market looked pretty bearish for most of the day until the tweet came out. So we'll see if I get stopped out on Workday. I'm not sure. I actually still like the trade. And again, we could have a bearish day tomorrow. So I'm going to give it some time, wait it out, and see what happens. We also have a bullish trade on Blue Apron, which doesn't look terrible, but it doesn't really look great. We got a bearish swing trade on McDonald's, which I can see some reasoning for it to be bullish. I can see some reasoning for it to be bearish, but we'll lower the stop. I should have exited on this day right here. I set the trade up on this day, the 12th, and I almost had 1R. So I've definitely let a few small winners out of my grasp. But again, we do have a bullish swing trade on Bristol Myers, which really did not get any of the bullish love that came into the market today, which is kind of sad. So hoping BMY can bounce off of some of the moving averages, hoping for 2Rs before the end of October on that. That would be great, but we'll find out. And then Planet Fitness, PLNT, actually we're in bearish on this one, and that breakdown still doesn't look awfully miserable. So we'll see if that continues lower, and if it does, cool, and if not, all is good. Anyway, folks, thanks so much for tuning in. If you have any requests, let me know. I'll be here all next week to look at your requests on Monday and Wednesday. And then I have a trade review coming your way Friday where we can take a trade that a real life trader placed and just kind of review it, discuss it, and figure out the good, the bad, the ugly, all that kind of good stuff. So anyway, a lot of great things happening out there. Thank you so much for everyone who participated in the World Series of Day Trading. That was a very fun endeavor. Had a lot of opportunity to connect and meet with some new traders, help some people, and get a really great grasp on the markets thanks to the vast majority of people out there who support real life trading and just help us with our mission to enrich lives. I will see you all later, and until next time, love life, live life, and trade it. Bye.